So I should wrap this up and leave time for questions. So I guess a couple of things. What are the implications of this, and why is this different than what we've had before? Why don't we just buy something from ESI and say you're our vendor and that's it? And because it is different. It is the ability to kind of control and manage this thing. It means that we're going to have the flexibility to do what we need to do in our libraries to make sure that we can respond to our patrons. I give this speech, we do orientations for all of our staff, and the real role of our organizations is to stay relevant to the lives of the people we serve. I mean, when you really get down to it, that's it. If we don't, we won't exist. We won't be there. If we're relevant, if we're doing important things, again, within our core mission of providing access to information and ideas or whatever, then we are going to survive and we're going to thrive. And whether it's in Grand Rapids or whether it's in Bellevue or Redmond or anywhere else in the country, if we can do that. But in order to stay relevant, we've got to have control of this thing that drives how people access our libraries and how people use our libraries, and maybe more importantly, how our staff do it too. There's a whole productivity side of this thing, and another thing that drives us. We've got to make it simpler. You shouldn't have to have a PhD in innovative stuff in order to be able to work at a CERT desk. Our goal with our Evergreen installation is to allow me to work at the CERT desk. Okay. If I can work there, then we've succeeded, right? Bradley, you're going to make that happen? Is that... Last time I worked at Kent, I didn't do the fines right, and they're still trying to reconcile the thing, So the software has to be easier, and it's got to be more efficient. It's got to take less than 7 steps to delete a book and 17 steps to change a location of where a hold fits into the hold queue or whatever. It's got to work for the patron catalog, and the patron catalog has got to continue to evolve and be integrated, not a separate and apart, no, we can do a fix and everything else. It shouldn't be a system of fixes. It should be an integrated system that works together. And it also hooks up into all the social networking stuff. We have a big other thing going on in our system. It's called Future Services, where we're actually looking at library service in the library, online, and out in the community. And in order for that to work, we've got to have systems that fully integrate what we do in the library. So again, that could be the subject of a whole other talk. We want to make sure that the vendors and their business interests aren't really dictating where the software is going and how we're going to do things in our libraries. I can't tell you, and I bet you know this too, how many of the things that we do in our libraries are really a vestige of what the software enabled us to do, rather than a real conscious decision to do it this way or to do it that way. And I think we've got to change that model too. By the way, that gives us more responsibility, as Marcia alluded to as well. Kind of following up on something that Jed said, I think that the other implication is we need local development. I applaud Bibliomation, what you're doing with the kids catalog, and I applaud all the libraries, for the booking system that's being developed that you were talking about. And we need more of that going on, and again, ESI is going to have plenty of business and everything else, but we need to get some more local resources going on there so different eyes, different perspectives can look at this thing and say, hey, we can make it better this way, we can make it better that way. So I think that's really important. I think as I was talking about, the public libraries in the United States are very, very strong, and they're very, very well supported, and they're very, very well developed. And I think that will continue if we are able to express that localism and express our knowledge. Look, somebody once told me that Google answers more questions in one afternoon than all the public libraries in the United States for a whole year. That's not our core, that's not our business going forward. Our business going forward is to take what we do know. We do know about people, we do know about community, we do know about how to access information, and we do know, we have some really good ideas about, what's good and what's not good for various situations. We need to take that and somehow or another use our technology to translate that knowledge and that talent to be available to all the people in our communities, and there's only one way we're going to do that. We can't do it individually. We can't do a story time for every kid in King County. There's like 400,000 kids or something like that. We've got to use technology to get that talent out there to the community so that people see that the library is relevant to their lives. And I think that this is the change, and we're so excited. to be part of that change. You know, again, what we're doing in King County, I want to say once again, you know, we couldn't be here if it weren't for the effort of those people that got things started and what they've shown us that it can be done. Now, we've seen it, and I know, standing here, that a lot of libraries around the country are looking at us. And you know, Jed's job, as he likes to say, is to make this thing work. On September 25th, it's got to work for the first 10 minutes, and then it's got to change the way we do business in technology and libraries for the rest of our lives, you know. So it's a real simple task. I know libraries around the country are looking at it. You know, we've worked closely with a lot of libraries. Our IMLS grant was not for our development. You know, that $1 million, I don't think any of it's going to go for development at the King County Library System. It's going to be to help libraries, however we can, to implement, you know, these systems in their libraries to make it possible. Our whole deal, in addition to our ongoing development, and again, we don't want to speak like we're victorious, not until September 26th or something like that. But we want to give confidence to the library community that this is doable. And I think there already is confidence, and there certainly is demonstration that in these consortia and smaller libraries that it can happen. Now we need to show it in the bigger libraries. If we can do it at the second or third busiest library in the country, you know, then it's going to be no problem for other libraries. And once we get more of the library participating, we're all going to be benefiting from it. It won't be the rich. What will happen is, again, if we keep this model of sharing and being open to ideas and making sure that whatever we do is available to others, you know, everybody can participate. And good ideas, whether they come up in Saginaw, Michigan, or whether they come up in Salt Lake City or New Jersey or Seattle, can be part of the thing. And whether it's a national system or not, I have no way of knowing. But I hope, our fervent hope is that this really will change the way we do business and will give us a chance to provide that really special manifestation of how libraries can change people's lives. Thanks a lot. Okay, I went a little bit over. We have 5 minutes for questions, and I know I have already one question that I kind of answered, but I'll respond to, and that was, how are we dealing with our current vendor? And is our current vendor here? Hey, we like a lot of libraries have had problems, you know. I mean, we haven't gotten the service that we want. And again, I don't think it's necessarily their fault. They just aren't set up to deal with what we really want. We want a different business model, and we talked to them very, very directly about that. We wanted one that we were getting service and that they were committed to development. And as I've said so many times in my little talk, that they're really focused on selling a thing, you know, and they got a thing and that's it, and they're not going to really do much. And you can put a lot of stuff around that. We just went to hear what Queens is doing, you know, and they've got a lot of stuff around it, but basically it's a thing, you know, it's the same proprietary kind of system, and we don't want that to be the case. We want to be able to manage that. So we have taken a kind of stealing Jed's line, you know, don't tell, don't ask, don't tell kind of policy or whatever they use in the military. We're just kind of moving ahead, and we're just, you know, we're hoping that we get to September 25th and everything's cool. So that's probably not an answer. We're just kind of laying low. We're really not. And again, we're not going out there saying this is great, we're successful or whatever else. We're just going to let the results speak for themselves. And I think that's the important thing. So we are an innovative customer right now, and we will continue to be an innovative customer, and we pay our bills, and that's good, right? Other questions? Yeah.
September 25th. Is that a hard date for going live?
That is a hard date.
But